Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a recent court injunction is being complained about. Vancouver did not have a New Year's Eve fireworks show, and an e-bike catching fire caused problems in Toronto.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making news in the Northwest and beyond today. An alert was recently sent out to inform the residents of the Masset and Old Masset areas that a local hospital is having some issues. The Northern Haida Hospital is currently experiencing an emergency department service interruption, with the given reason being ongoing nursing staffing challenges. The original interruption took place from 7 a.m. on December 29th until 7 a.m. on January 2nd, but an extension was then installed and the interruption will last until 7 a.m. on January 8th now. Anyone in the area who has emergency needs during that time will be redirected to the Haida Hospital and Health Center in Dajin-Guides. The RCMP Major Crime Unit is currently in the midst of investigating a suspicious death that recently happened in Dawson Creek. Police have stated that officers were called about a suspicious vehicle back on New Year's Eve and later found a red Dodge Caliber and a dead man inside of it. Investigators have since said that they will not be releasing any more information on this case in order to protect the integrity of the investigation. They are also asking anyone with any potentially helpful information about the investigation or simply the vehicle itself to contact the Dawson Creek RCMP at 250-784-3700. Recent reports have revealed that it was a girl that was the first baby born inside of the Northern BC Health Region in 2024. The girl is said to go by the name of Holland, and she was born at the University Hospital of Northern BC at 1:04 in the morning on January 1st to parents from Burns Lake. The first baby born in the city of Terrace during the new year, however, was a boy instead. That baby was named Declan, and he was born at 2:38 a.m. on the 1st at the Mills Memorial Hospital to Haida-Gwaii-based parents. The president of the BC Association of Chiefs of Police says a recent court ruling placing a temporary injunction on a law restricting drug use in public takes away tools for police enforcement. VPD's Deputy Chief Constable says police are disappointed in the decision from the BC Supreme Court. The ruling says the law could cause irreparable harm to drug users if implemented. BC's public safety minister says the province is also concerned by the ruling, saying the law is meant to stop people from using drugs in public places near families and children. Coming up next, BC businesses are facing extortion demands. Welcome back. Now to the alarming extortion demands some BC business owners are facing. The threats have already been tied to a number of shootings in the Lower Mainland. More people are coming forward as law enforcement across the country investigate British Columbia's connection to the violence and threats. CTV's Penny Daflos reports.
They're linked to shootings and arsons from Metro Vancouver to Greater Toronto, with extortion letters terrorizing business leaders.
It appears to potentially involve gang outside of the country.
Mostly in South Asian communities.
A lot of moving parts and obviously been speaking with other jurisdictions.
Abbotsford has been at the epicenter of BC's threatening letters, with business owners blackmailed by self-described Indian gang members demanding millions in protection money.
More and more people are coming forward saying they have received letters or threats of similar nature.
Surrey RCMP arrested 2 suspects last week in the wake of a shooting.
They are involved in the extortion investigation as a whole.
While Peel Regional Police arrested a BC man in connection with multiple extortion cases in Brampton, describing ties to similar crimes on the West Coast.
Everything from shootings to other types of violence.
In the wake of a rash of arsons in recent weeks, CTV News has learned that Edmonton home builders are facing threats to pay up or their projects will be torched.
Every builder has hired like dozens of security guards to protect their properties and protect themselves. Their houses have been shot.
CTV News has asked the BC RCMP whether they're working with Alberta law enforcement on Edmonton's extortion cases, but they're staying tight-lipped.
Houses shot up. We've had businesses shot up. I believe only about a third of that is reported to the police.
This former police chief and solicitor general is concerned that BC's fractured policing agencies may not be able to coordinate a response.
Politicians have to look at this as a priority for the South Asian community, or we're going to have people die.
Current Solgen Mike Farnworth insists we are working with local police departments, the BC RCMP, as well as the federal RCMP to ensure that police agencies are working in a coordinated fashion.
We are on top of this. We are working very hard.
Edmonton and Brampton have dedicated teams on these extortions, while multiple BC agencies are tackling the crimes in their own boundaries. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver didn't host a New Year's Eve fireworks show this year, adding to a list of events unable to secure enough funding. Some say that it's time to look for safer, quieter, and greener alternatives. Here's CTV's Abigail Turner.
Canceling Vancouver's New Year's Eve fireworks didn't stop this crowd from showing up at Cole Harbour. A disappointment when the clock struck midnight, one person even taking matters into their own hands. Organizers were unable to secure enough funding, a similar situation for Vancouver's Canada Day light show, but one that has a local lawyer saying good riddance.
They're really a very old-fashioned technology. Let's start there and say that the loud bangs, the pollution that they give off, both sound pollution and all the detritus that fireworks let off, it's something that should be relegated to the past.
She believes it's time to make room for new types of technology.
It's a lot more simple than a fireworks display. I think the lower risk of not having pyrotechnics involved and just having a lot more use of technology and automation just makes the whole experience a lot smoother and a lot less cumbersome.
Drone light shows are something Pixel Sky Animation specializes in, with around 100 drones flying in the sky using a team of about 5 technicians.
Drone light shows are seen as a more eco-friendly alternative to fireworks.
Despite it being low risk for wildlife and the environment, they're still considered the pricier option.
Fireworks are felt with the eyes, with the nose, the senses, which drones unfortunately don't provide. And they are increasingly cost prohibitive. When we look at the environment, for example, you've got to be really careful when you use drones if you're on a flight path.
Reasons Canada's National Fireworks Association believes the explosive displays won't be disappearing anytime soon. Abigail Turner, CTV News, Vancouver.
It's not unusual for herds of sea lions to show up around BC's south coast, but it is unusual for them to set up shop in Cole Harbour for lengthy periods of time. So what gives? CTV's Ben Milger has more on some unexpected visitors.
Between the planes and the boats and the tourists, there's usually a lot going on in Cole Harbour, but a group of visitors from California have become the center of attention of late.
I was running and I heard a ton of noise, and so I stopped. I was like, I need to look at this. There's a bunch of huge sea lions. Yeah, it's super cool.
About 15 to 20 California sea lions have set up shop in the area around the Vancouver Rowing Club. Males typically migrate north in the winter months and are frequent visitors in Burrard Inlet and Howe Sound. But an extended Cole Harbour residency is a special treat.
It is an El Nino year, so water temperatures are up, so animals are moving in somewhat abnormal ways, as in uncommon ways, just because of temperature changes in water. So prey might be in different places and they might be following prey.
California sea lions typically haul themselves out of the water daily to rest on rocks, beaches, even docks. But anyone who comes across one in or out of the water is advised to keep their distance.
Give animals their space, and that's for human safety as well as safety for animals. Unfortunately, we do get a number of animals that are hit by boats, either propellers or blunt trauma, brought into our rescue facility, so we try and avoid that.
One California sea lion actually makes its permanent home in BC waters, living at the Vancouver Aquarium since being found injured near Spanish Banks in 2017.
An adult male, he was a gunshot animal that was brought to us some years ago now. Cinco is his name. So he was blinded by that, so he was non-releasable, and he lives here, and he's a great guy.
The herd of visitors in Cole Harbour could choose to move on at any time or stick around until returning to California for the spring mating season. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast is currently projected to see its fair share of rain and a low of 6 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area is set to see wet snow mixed with rain, as well as a low only at 0 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is likely to get some light snow, with the low only at -3 degrees. On the north coast, the week for them should see mostly just rain to start before a brief sun and cloud interlude followed by flurries, snow, and rain, with the high moving between 5 and 2 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, their week should be pretty much all snow, rain, and flurries, with sun and cloud mixed in the middle of the week, and have a high going from 1 to -5 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, their upcoming week is projected to deal with some flurries to start, mixed cloudy and sunny days in the middle, and back to flurries at the end, where the high should bounce between -1 and -9 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there are slippery sections, a special event planned, fog patches, utility work, and industrial traffic. The Usk Ferry is out of service, but the cable car is in effect. Highway 118 has some slippery sections too. Highway 37 has some slippery sections while also having various maintenance and fog patches. 37A has maintenance and compact snow, some more fog patches on the Nishka Highway, and the Telegraph Creek Road has slippery sections with compact ice. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the View of the Province's highway cams. Still to come is a look at New Year's resolutions. Welcome back. It's that time of the year when the word resolution gets thrown around a lot. For many, it means introducing something new into their daily routine or eliminating an old habit. As CTV's Rob Buffin reports, while New Year's resolutions are common, they're often difficult to keep.
It's the second day of the year. A cold, dreary one, but that's not deterring 84-year-old Derek from pursuing his New Year's resolutions that include 3 laps of this track on a regular basis and 200 squats per week.
Because squats takes care of your mental well-being and your physical well-being.
Inside this gym, there's no mistaking the stepped-up efforts to get into shape in 2024. Resolutions abound.
I want to focus on my overall well-being going into 2024, and I think fitness is a big part of that.
Go to the gym more often.
In fact, a recent survey by Forbes magazine cited improving fitness as the #1 resolution for 2024. 48% of those surveys citing it as their top priority. Also near the top of the list, improving mental health, improving finances, and spending more time with loved ones.
I just want to spend more time with my family this year.
Cutting back on alcohol is another resolution for some.
Mainly not wanting to feel terrible anymore. The anxiety is kind of, I'm over it, I've done it.
Even simply a dry January has its benefits, says this UVic scientist, noting improved sleep in the short term and long-term health benefits. Adding recent studies show one drink is as bad for your health as smoking a cigarette.
This is not a benign, safe thing. WHO says it's like asbestos and tobacco. So we need to treat it with a little bit of respect.
When it comes to keeping your resolutions, most of us don't. The same Forbes survey showed the majority of those polled maintain their resolutions through 2 and 3 months, but not beyond 4. A paltry 1% kept them for a year. Maybe this advice will help.
Don't set your targets too high. If you set them too high, you probably won't meet them. You'll drop them by the end of January. If you set them relatively low, you might make them.
Advice he's fulfilling one step at a time. Robert Buffin, CTV News, Oak Bay.
A Chinese butcher shop in Victoria's Chinatown is the longest continuously run Chinese business in Canada, but now the owners are looking to retire and they're putting the business up for sale. As CTV's Brendan Strange shows us, there's a push now within Victoria's Chinese community to find a buyer that will keep that business operating just as it has been for the past 135 years.
For the last 166 years, the 500 block of Fiskard Street in downtown Victoria has been better known as Chinatown.
We're the oldest in Canada. We are the second oldest in North America.
Second only to San Francisco's. 135 years ago, Loy Sing, a Chinese butcher shop, opened its doors, serving up barbecue pork, duck and chicken to its loyal customers. Outside of keeping live ducks and chickens in the back, the business model hasn't changed much at all in those years.
It is the longest continuously running Chinese business in all of North America.
Owned by Daniel and his wife Shelley for the past 28 years. But now the couple is planning to retire.
Time to rest.
Yeah. Over the past few years, Canada's oldest Chinatown is beginning to look more like a multicultural town, seeing French, Japanese, and Mexican eateries moving in.
We have fabulous shops that aren't Chinese run, and they add to the vibrancy of our Chinatown.
There's now a push from within the Chinese community to find a buyer who will continue to run the business as a Chinese butcher shop.
We want to be able to still say it is the longest continuously running Chinese business in North America.
The asking price? Somewhere in the neighborhood of $75,000. And Daniel is willing to hold off retirement for training purposes.
So I can talk to them.
And teach them?
Teach them,
You
yeah,
teach them
yeah,
how to
teach
do
them,
it?
yeah.
This humble owner says business has always been good, putting his 3 children through school and maintaining a cultural connection to customers and his city. And after all that, says now it's time for his family to rest.
Where do you want to travel?
Anywhere.
Municipal rules state that Chinatown will never change. No matter what kind of businesses are on the street and what nationality their owners are, it will survive. Meaning the push to keep this butcher shop traditional is simply about history, about keeping a physical connection to the past that tells the story about how the street was born. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
After decades of offering cinematic experiences, the city of Duncan has lost its only movie theater. The Caprice Cinema ownership announced the show would no longer go on. CTV's Andy Garland has more on what's behind the screen going dark and the hope that still remains.
Coming attraction signs have come and gone in Duncan, and the popcorn has all been popped as the region's only theater made an abrupt curtain call last weekend.
I think it's sad because it was something for people to do.
Honestly, I have lots of good memories with my friends.
On Sunday, the theater announced on their Facebook page that Saturday's screenings were its last, and they're now closed permanently.
Where are the kids gonna go to watch a movie?
Blown away, like I wasn't really expecting for it to close down at any point.
The operator of the cinema says the landlord increased their rent by 300% before the pandemic.
And then we've not been able to recover.
Ownership adds that the landlord gave them a 15-day notice to vacate the building in mid-December if they didn't pay their accumulated debt in rent payments.
It's just been a tough, uphill battle.
Streaming services, limited disposable income, and industry restrictions like holding movies for 3 weeks also play factors in the decision to close.
And in a small town, to hold a movie for 3 weeks, movies normally drop our 50% in attendance every week.
We love our theater.
The Downtown Business Improvement Area Society was shocked to hear about the theater's closure, which has been in the community since the 80s.
It's one of those jewels of downtown that drive visitation.
The mayor of Duncan was unavailable today, but she says she's been in contact with the theater already, and both are exploring options like a possible nonprofit model to keep the theater running.
A lot of other small towns have done that. Sydney has done that. Powell River.
I think if it opens up opportunities, then it's a good idea.
In the meantime, moviegoers in the Cowichan Valley will have to travel to Nanaimo or Victoria to catch a flick. Andy Garland, CTV News, Duncan.
There were some frightening moments for Toronto's subway riders when an e-bike burst into flames. Fire officials say lithium-ion batteries sparking fires is a growing problem. CTV's Sean Leothog reports.
A scary incident on the TTC from New Year's Eve has fire officials raising caution. A fire inside a subway car at the Yonge Sheppard station, creating concern over lithium-ion batteries.
The fire resulted from the failure of a lithium-ion battery pack that provided the power source to an e-bike.
The operator of the bike was sent to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. As can be seen from this video, the fire escalated rapidly, and Chief Pegg says fires from lithium-ion battery-powered devices are a growing concern.
In 2022, there were 29 fires in Toronto that resulted from the failure of a lithium-ion battery. In 2023, the number of lithium-ion battery fires in Toronto increased to 55.
E-bikes and scooters are legal on the TTC, and when asked about the possibility of changing regulations to ensure that nothing like this can happen again, Chief Pegg says they are working closely with the TTC, but they must also accept the reality of the situation.
We're talking about devices that are everywhere. When I walk around and go about my day, I carry one, generally two, lithium-ion powered cell phones and oftentimes a lithium-ion powered computer.
A statement from the TTC yesterday said the safety of our customers and employees is our #1 priority. We're continuing to work with Toronto Fire Services to better understand what caused this e-bike to ignite. Chief Pegg said these fires make it difficult to investigate because the fire often destroys the battery, making it hard to see if an item is defective or if user error is the cause. But he says Toronto Fire has been working aggressively to try to inform regulations going forward.
And this is not an uncommon thing. When technology advances at the rate that we're seeing this type of battery technology advance, it almost always outpaces things like codes and standards and regulations.
He says passengers and staff did the right thing to prevent further injury in this incident.
Sean Thong, CTV News, Toronto.
And now we turn our attention over to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is down 23/10 of a cent, the price of gold is down $30.60, oil is up $2.32, natural gas is up 10 cents, aluminum is down $46.50. In Toronto, the TSX is down 53.56 points, the Venture Index is down 3.68, in New York, the Dow Jones is down 284.85, and NASDAQ is down 173.73. Still ahead is the Canucks' strong start in the new year. Welcome back. The Vancouver Canucks are starting off 2024 the way that they finished 2023.
Here's Ian Cole with a long wrist shot. Score! I think Pettersson might have tipped it.
Ian Cole's goal came just over 2 minutes in and was one of 5 first-period goals in last night's 6-3 win over the Ottawa Senators. The Canucks stay in first place in the Western Conference with last night's win. Vancouver begins a 7-game road trip tomorrow night in St. Louis. Noah reportedly emerged as the most popular name for babies born inside of British Columbia in 2023, a name that topped the list for the second consecutive year. The province's vital statistics agency said that Noah was followed by Oliver, Olivia, Theodore, Liam, Jack, Emma, Sophia, Ethan, and Leo. The agency next said that almost 38,000 babies were born and registered in BC between January 1st to December 18th last year. Most of the top 10 names in 2023 were also among the most popular in 2022, with only Lucas dropping off of the list and being replaced by Ethan. A union representing more than 180 transit workers in BC has issued a 72-hour strike notice. CUPE Local 4500 represents workers employed by the Coast Mountain Bus Company, which runs transit operations for all of Metro Vancouver. The notice is effective at 8 a.m. local time on Wednesday. The union says it is still available to negotiate a collective agreement that avoids service disruptions. That is all of our news for now. From all of us here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.